Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to my Greencard story. On this channel, we share the success story of those that have applied for Greencard through EB2-NIW. If you want to know more about my Greencard story, kindly visit our website, www.mygreencardstory.com. Details of our website and our contact information is available in the description box of this video. We basically render two services at My Greencard Story. We help people to draft their EB2-NIW petition cover letter, and we also help people to review their EB2-NIW petition cover letter. So on today's episode, I'm going to interview someone that applied for EB2-NIW during our PhD. So I believe that from this video, you will derive insights on how to put your petition cover letter together. Thank you so much. So I'm going to introduce our guest. Her name is Lola. Welcome to our channel, on my channel, Lola. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Lola.
Oh, great. That's awesome. So can you give us some specifics about your educational background and also your work experience?
So I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, a master's in environmental engineering. That is under civil because there's also environmental engineering under chemical engineering. And I worked for a while in the oil and gas industry in Midland, Texas. And then I went to do my PhD in health and environmental sciences. And now I work as an environmental engineer in a consulting firm. I design water and wastewater structures.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. You have a very impressive profile. Okay,
thank you.
So now, since we are yet to talk about EB2-NIW, can you tell us the first time you heard about EB2-NIW?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so the first time was in, I think, 2014. While I was working in the oil and gas industry, a friend of mine told me about it. I was on OPT then, and I think I had a problem renewing my OPT. And a colleague of mine told me, oh, there's this EB2, talk to this doctor that just finished his PhD. He filed by himself, and maybe you can do that too. And so I called up the person, I talked to the person, and that was the first time I heard about it.
Okay, good. So, and when did you decide to turn in or to file for EB2-NIW? Can you shed more light into that?
Okay, so my own case is, I don't know, maybe there's someone else that did it that way, but so in 2014, when I heard about it, I actually, either that same year or the next year, I actually filed for EB2 by myself. That time I only had a master's and I had 2 years experience in the oil and gas industry. And so based on the person who talked to me about it and told me what I need to do, how I need to write a cover letter, put in some evidences like what I've done, if I have any papers published, just put in like what I've done, the work I've done. And I did it myself in that either 2014, I can't remember right now. And after, I think 9 months, I got a RFE. And I didn't know what to do with the RFE. I guess I could have called the person I spoke to, but the person already warned me that he's not sure if they give it to people that just have masters, because he had a PhD and he had already published. But he said I should try, that you never know. So me getting an RFE, it was a good thing and it was also a bad thing, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I spoke to a lawyer, I spoke to a friend, another friend, yeah, not even my colleague, and a lawyer. And the lawyer was just like, oh, he doesn't know much about it, but that they don't normally give it to people that have masters. They give it to people that have been teaching for years and that have so many publications, and people have been using their publications, like they have so many citations. And so they basically kind of discouraged me, the lawyer, although I was ready to pay, to help me answer the RFP, because for me, I've already given them all that I have. And so I didn't have anything else to give. And so the lawyer discouraged me. And so they also, he told me to just write a letter and withdraw, to withdraw the application. So that was what I did then. I withdrew my application and I told them, and so that did not reflect in my file. Maybe they had documents I submitted then, but it didn't reflect in my file. And so that was the first time that I heard about it, and I applied for it. So the second time was during my PhD. So after I now went back to school to do my PhD, and after my qualifying exam, I decided to apply for the NIW then. And as I then, I had some other authors. I was not the second author, nor was I the first author. So I applied, and I just finished my qualifying exam.
So can you tell us the main difference between your first petition and your second petition?
So, okay, so for me, the difference is very wide and clear. So for the first one, I think I just wrote 4 pages or 5 pages for my cover letter. I basically wrote just things that I was presenting. It was hard for me to prove anything. I tried my best to prove based on we don't have a lot of engineers, female engineers, environmental engineers. You have a lot of environmental engineers, but female engineers, and that also has the kind of experience that I do. And so, but for the second one, and also my references, I think I got 4 or 5 references from my professor. So my professor, someone I work with in the oil and gas industry that I look up to. Yeah. And yeah, I got 4 or 5, and that was it. And I submitted it. But when I submitted it during my PhD, the second time, I had more than 8 references. I was able to get references from my master's advisor. Then I did a short internship during the summer during my master. I got what they call a reference from the man, and then he's also a professor. And also I got references from my school back in Nigeria, where I did civil engineering. And then I was able to get 4, or if not 5, from people I was working with during my PhD. So that really helped me out. And those the ones I did, the one I got from people I worked with my PhD was more detailed, because I spent more time with them. Masters, most of them I spent, the max was a year. But with PhD, then I was already spending 3 years with them, 2 years with them, and then they know me. Then I already passed my qualifying exam. So I was able to get references from like people in my committee, qualifying exam committee, members.
Okay, that's great. So beside recommendation letters, what other supporting document did you attach to your EB2-NIW? I mean the second petition that you turned in. What other supporting document did you attach?
Yeah, so I don't know if I think I mentioned it briefly. I was not clear. I also had a paper that my name was on it. However, I was not the first or second author. I was like the 8th author. And so I added that too. And then I won some awards during my master's. I put that in. And then during my PhD, by the time I applied, I had not gotten, because I got some scholarships there. I don't think I've gotten any then. So I did some few presentations. I added that too. Then, like engineering, we do a professional exam. So the first part of it, which is engineering in training, I attached that. Yeah, I think that was the major thing. I did the reference letter. The cover letter was very detailed because of, if you look at, well, the idea that I have, I don't know if it's true, is that, those people that look at that read those cover letters or look at those applications might not know so much about what you do, right? And so for them, it might be confusing if they see bachelor's in civil engineering, master's in environmental engineering, then PhD in health and environmental science, and be like, this girl is confused, she doesn't know what she's doing. So in my cover letter, I had to really explain like what all that means and just show them that they are all the same, they are intertwined. It's just a continuation of one. The environmental is on the civil, it's just an aspect of civil. The health and environmental science is just also more in-depth in water geology, which is an aspect of environmental engineering that you need. So I explained that in detail so that they can really understand that, no, this is not someone that is confused. And even my experience, your experience was in like geology, are you sure? So I had to explain all of that. So
so can you shed more light into what, in terms of your cover letter, when you're putting in when you're writing a cover letter for EB2-NIW, you need to write about a proposed endeavor and also the substantial merit and national importance of the proposed endeavor. So can you briefly explain what your proposed endeavor was and the substantial merit and national importance of it?
Okay,
if
so my proposed endeavor was that I wanted to work with any government institution, and also maybe private, but mostly EPA, agency, water quality agency, environmental agencies, and maybe consulting any other company. But my focus would be on the water. Now, what do I mean by that? So based on my PhD, my focus for my PhD was more on like contamination, pollution, either through man-made activities or just natural activities. That's where the geology part comes in. And then if you look at my master's, is now, okay, how do we treat this contaminated water, this polluted water? So I can actually work with anybody. I can work with government, and for my purpose endeavor too, mostly, the one that I really elaborated on was working with the government agency and like UN, United Nations, and EPA, because of all that is going on in terms of water quality. Water quality is something that people are really interested in right now. We have a lot of contamination happening with our drinking water, and is really affecting human health. So I was able to explain that, and like I said, even in developing countries and undeveloped countries, water is an issue. Not to talk of here in the US, you have states that are fighting over water. That's how important it is. So the importance of that, and then the importance of my research, I was able to highlight that, because not only do we have like simple contaminations that we know, which I was working on, like lead. I was also looking at trace metals like arsenic. Arsenic is not that common, but it can cause cancer, and it is actually is common that but you don't hear about it a lot. So arsenic, and some other trace metals, and even what they call it, mostly trace metals, and I did heavy metals too. So I was able to highlight those and show the importance to like government agencies, and I think that was what really helped me.
Okay, that's awesome. So after you put together your cover letter, I guess you put all your document together and send it to USCIS. So how long did it take USCIS to give you a feedback concerning your petition, and what was their response? Was it an approved petition, or did you get a RFE the second time?
So I sent it in let me think about it. I sent it in 2020. I just want to confirm. I sent it in either 2020 or 2019. And I think 3 months after, I mean, it was during the COVID period. I remember very clearly, it was during the COVID period. So I sent it during the COVID period, 2019, sorry. And so I think 2 months after, or 3 months after, I got that they've received it. I don't know why it took them that long, but there was a lot of backlog due to COVID, right? I know COVID happened, we were shut down in 2020.
Yeah.
So I sent it in before COVID, sorry. And I didn't know COVID was going to happen, but I just had that urgency in me to send it in. So I sent it in sometime before November 2019. And I got a response in November 2019 that they've received all my documents. Then finally in September 2020, I just want to confirm the date. Yeah, sometime in September 2020, I got a notice that it has been approved. Okay. So that took a while. I think it took me like 9 months to hear back from them. So COVID has already happened. January, February, there was lockdown, there was backlog. So 2020, I got there. Yeah, it was approved. That was what I got from there. I didn't get the RFE this time.
So I'm going to ask you one last question, then we'll end the first session of this interview. So what are the challenges that you faced, and can you, when you were trying to put your EB2-NIW petition together, and how did you overcome those challenges? I can give you like example if you want.
Okay, sure.
So for example, a typical challenge is getting recommendation letters. You might think that it's very easy, but some people find it difficult to get 3 recommendation letter. The second one is even getting like a very good recommendation letter. I've seen instances in which people like they speak to their references, but their references don't know how to write a recommendation letter. So they're trying to get a job, but that's not the way you write it. It's very different.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that. For the pointer. The major one is references. It's always the references. The first time I did it, it was that I had one referee. Is it referee, right? Or whoever it is that was writing the
reference, yeah.
Referee, whoever is writing the reference letter. 3 months to write reference letter. It's not that difficult. And I get that then when you ask them, what they were like, oh, I don't really know you that well. No, nobody's asking for a personal letter about how wonderful I am. You don't know me, but you know my work. So one, I would say I'm coming to you because one, maybe you've taught me. So talk about teaching me, right? How my performance. Then the other thing, they'll be like, oh, I don't know how to write it. I don't really understand it. Can you draft something? Trust me, when you draft that thing, they might use it directly. And that's crazy, because if you give all your referees or whoever is writing a recommendation letter the same draft, they're going to write the same thing and just sign it. Some of them are lazy like that, and they're professors. Sorry for calling them lazy, but it's the truth. But you're asking them for a favor. So because of my experience the first time, that happened to me the first time, whenever I draft it, I draft different letters. recommendation letter. For the ones that ask me a sample, I'll draft it. So if you want to use this, you sign it off, it's up to you. But I'll draft it. So that was what I did, and it was stressful. Not, you are the same person writing the same recommendation letter. You always almost sound the same way, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's tough to write a sample 5 or 6 different. But I did that because of what had happened the first time. When 2 people signed the same time, like I can't give them this, and I had to ask her. Even my advisor, she was able to change like some few things, but she still uses what I honestly.
and that's why I tell people that I encourage them to tell their reference to write the letter and not them drafting it for that.
And so apart from using the language in the first paragraph and the last paragraph, every other thing is just write about my work, write about yourself, right? Write about my work and the importance and why it is important for them to allow me to stay and what it will be, how it will benefit the United States. That's all. That's all. So when you are sending them that draft, be careful. Don't send them the same draft. They will ask for it too. And because they're asking for a favor, you're asking for a favor. You can't tell them, oh, I can't send you a draft. So just know that. So write a very good recommendation that you like. So if they decide to sign it, fine. Don't write the same thing. Don't write the same language. Thank God that there are some generated things right now. Maybe you can use that to sound different. But I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But it has to have the different tone. Different. I don't know how you're going to do that, but you have to. Maybe you send it to different people so they will vet it, change some things. But it's tough. I'll just say use an experienced person like you to do it. It's just the truth. I'm just paid for it. Yeah. So that's one. The other thing I wanted to say is that it's very tough keeping documentation of some things. It's very tough. So because I didn't know that was what I was going to, there were some competition. It wasn't a lot that I went to, that I got some gifts, whatever. I didn't have anything to show that I went for that competition. I got a prize. They even gave me a cash prize. I could not find a copy of the check because, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, trust me, always keep documentation of everything. Always keep, since then, any scholarship I win, anything, I keep a snapshot, print out the email. I just keep it, keep it, because you don't know when you're going to need it. So that one was there. Getting recommendation letter. Writing your CV is not resume. Writing your CV is tough.
Can you explain the difference between resume and CV?
I don't even know. I know it's more detailed. More detailed. You write everything you have done. Explain how that project has the importance of it and the benefits, and you look back and see how it has affected people. It's just a very detailed resume. Is just I did this, 5 points. Most resume, they don't want it to be more than 2 pages. Maybe if you have a PhD, if you have a bachelor's, it should be more than 1 page. That's resume. But for a CV, it's very detailed, all the scholarship you've done to, all the volunteer services you have rendered or you've been involved with, all the association, society, which that you can leave out in your resume, depending on if you have space or not. So yes, resume it was really tough because I didn't remember some things I had done, maybe 2, 3 undergrad. It was tough, trust me. So yeah. Yeah, and some of the experiences in Nigeria was hard for me to translate. So if you have foreign experiences, it's very hard. You really need to explain paramilitary, whatever it is, you need to explain all that you've done.
So thank you so much for that insight. And on this note, we will conclude this episode with you. Please, for everyone watching us, kindly subscribe to this channel and also visit our website, www.mygreencardstory.com. Follow us on different social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Thanks so much, and watch out for part 2 of this interview. Bye.
Bye.